Hello, and welcome to the Muses Lab, your destination for all things pleasure as it relates to our human experience, relationships, spirituality, and sexuality. I invite you to join me on this adventure of discovery and hope what you receive inspires you to become the muse of your life's journey. So, without further ado, let's explore. Hello, and welcome to the Muses Lab podcast. I am your host, Siobhan L. And this is actually the second time I'm recording this because I started recording this and then I completely lost my train of thought. And I took a pause and I came back because I'm talking about challenges with purpose. So this feels very twofold for me, right? If you're a regular listener to the podcast, you know I talk about me being neurospicy and having ADHD, neurospicy, aka neurodivergent, for those who aren't familiar with that term, but having ADHD. And I continue to have revelations about me and essentially this developmental disability that I found out I had late in life, right? I mean, of course, I've had it all my life, but I wasn't diagnosed until my early 40s, until last year, really. So I feel like I'm constantly playing catch up, and it's making me think about a conversation that I had with my bestie. Shout out to Kimmy Michelle, where she said to me, and I'm talking to her about challenges that I'm having or that I'm experiencing with transitioning to being a full-time creative. And we are both experiencing similar challenges. And she said to me, "You still feel like you got to catch up?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I do feel like I'm playing catch up. I feel like I'm playing catch up as it pertains to my diagnosis and understanding how I navigate the world and connecting the dots with how I've been navigating the world. Like certain things are now starting to make sense with me. So I'm in this stage, process, journey of relearning Siobhan, because who I thought Siobhan was is not quite it's not quite her. There's so many additional layers and nuances with me. And I mean, one of the biggest things I'm learning with myself is that I need instructions. And it ties into challenges with purpose, right? I need instructions. If I don't have instructions, I don't know what direction I need to go. I always need to know what I'm doing. And it doesn't have to be detailed instructions, even though details are our love language for me. They don't always have to be detailed instructions, but it needs to have some type of organization or something that I can work with so I have an idea of what is expected of me, because I'm always trying to do what is expected of me. I don't believe that has anything to do with me having ADHD. I think that's upbringing. Particularly being, first generation college student in my family. Both on my mother and my father's side. I'm a first generation college student. First generation 4-year college student, because my mother has her associate's degree. She started with her associate's degree. She has her master's now, but she had her associate's degree when I was born. So, first generation to go to a 4-year institution. And because I was placed on this pedestal to be the superstar, to be, some type of doctor or lawyer, and to, be rich and save the family. Ain't nobody ever going to admit that, but that's kind of what they was hoping. My life was supposed to be, I was supposed to be this amazing white collar, not even blue, white collar worker, and have this fame, and people would know me, and I would have some type of notoriety and make the family lineage look good. Like that's what they hoped happened. Totally not. I went in a completely opposite direction. Not even close. I'm a creative. I'm not even on a white collar job. I don't. So that expectation or the need to do what is expected of me and then follow the instructions that are given to me has me in this discordant space, this space of resistance where I am being challenged by the spirits that be to flow and to express and to create. And I'm having challenges doing that because in my mind, are those the actual, like, that's it? Go create? Where the rest of the instructions? Where the rest of the instructions? Go create. That's 2 words. Go create, period. Go create. Create what? Is there anything specific that I need to be creating, or I'm just creating what is compelled within my spirit? Like, what else? Where are the rest of the instructions? And I don't know how to navigate that because it feels very vague and ambiguous. And it's really simple, like go create. And I recognize that simple things are challenging for me because my brain is resisting the fact that it's that simple. Like, it just can't be that simple. There has to be something else underneath. So I spend time trying to peel back layers of what a simple instruction is, and then I get frustrated because there's no other layers. It literally is just 2 words and a period. Go create, meditate, discipline, whatever. The instructions are so simple, and my brain can't quantify the simplicity of the instructions. So then I find myself stagnant and stuck, or trying to fill in the gaps. Well, maybe they meant this. So instead of go create, I'll go create a novel. I'll go create digital guides. I'll go create 11 different social media pages and video myself on there and be on the gram shaking my ass and doing whatever. And I'll go create a newsletter, and then I'll go create a YouTube page, and then I'll go create a podcast because I need specifics. And without the specifics, I feel lost. And that kind of ties in to me with purpose. It's why I'm always feeling like I'm playing catch up, because I'm learning these things about myself and then I'm trying to apply them in real time while I am working to be a sustainable full-time creative, right? So I'm managing all these different things, and the only instruction that I'm getting is go create. Let's go create. Create things. Have fun. Go create things. And if it's too ambiguous for me. So it has me trying to fill in gaps where there are none. Because my brain cannot compute that there are no gaps. There has to be gaps. This is way too simple. Like, that's it. It has to tie to a purpose. Go create for what reason? Go create what for what reason? There's no reason. There's no rationale. Just go create. So then I feel like I'm moving haphazardly because my brain has to tie something to a specific purpose. There has to be a rationale. I feel like these are my Virgo placements, tropical and sidereal speaking in those moments. There has to be a rationale, because if I'm just creating without a purpose, or what I believe is without a purpose, then I feel like I'm wasting time, because there's something else I probably should be doing aside from just creating. There has to be more to the instructions. So without a purpose, I feel like I have no direction. That's what I was trying to get to. Without purpose, I feel like I don't have direction. It's like when like my dad and my bonus mom try to get me to apply to jobs that I don't have transferable skills to or transferable skills for. And well, it's just a job. And they don't understand that. Oh, and I can feel it. When I start talking about it, I could feel it. I can feel the emotion tugging on me in like my heart and in my chest. If you tell me to apply for a job that is not even in alignment with what I'm here to do on this earth, is not in alignment with what I'm here to do on this earth. I get that it's a means to an end, but it's a means to an end where I'm just in this rote schedule, get up, go to work, come home. I feel disconnected from myself. I understand oftentimes having a 9 to 5 is what helps sustain you financially. I totally get that, because trying to live a life of creativity is not cheap. And then you have to eat, right? That's why you have a whole bunch of starving artists. There are brave creatives who are like, I'm not going to get a 9 to 5. I'm gonna work these gigs and these odd end jobs, and I'll make it work. And I tried to do that, and that doesn't work for me because it sends me into anxiety, and then I spiral, and then I'm in depression, and then it just the rabbit hole continues, right? So I need sustenance. I need something to sustain me. So I try to do these things that's supposed to be a means to an end, but it has no purpose. What am I doing this for besides the money? And the money is not even enough. Like, a lot of people don't understand living paycheck to paycheck is no different than living without a paycheck. Because you're increasing anxiety because you think you have money but you don't, because you're trying to catch up, and you're like, the money is coming in and then going out, and you're not sustaining anything, so it's like you don't have any money anyway, right? That makes you feel worse, because now you feel like you're expending energy for a paycheck that you don't even see. You don't even reap the benefits of having a paycheck. So it's no different than not having one at all, right? At least if you don't have one, you know what you're working with. But when you get one that doesn't sustain you, it's worse, because you never know what you're working with, right? They don't understand that if I am to do that, it has to have meaning. It has to have purpose. It has to at least be in an alignment with the direction that I'm going. And if I'm working something, if I am doing something, if I'm taking on projects or what have you that don't have some type of threaded connection with what I'm doing, I get lost, because my brain is always trying to thread together things that I'm doing. It has to have a flow. I may be creating stories in my head that way. Like, there has to be a flow. If I can't see how all of these things are interconnected, my brain doesn't know how to compute that. Ties back into purpose. If I can't see the rationale, if I can't see how these things intersect, if I can't see how these things are interconnected, if I can't see how these things are threaded together, what am I doing it for? My brain doesn't understand that. My brain doesn't understand, oh, you're just doing it because you just got to do it. But why do I have to do it? Do I have to do this thing? Is there not anything else that I can do? Why does it have to be this? Because this doesn't make sense to me. And then when people tell you, well, it doesn't really have to make sense to you. It doesn't have to make sense to you because you don't process information the way my brain does. So if it does not make sense, if I can't quantify it, if I can't see the connection, I'm going to struggle. And that's one of the biggest things that I have learned and am continuing to learn with having ADHD. There has to be a connection. I do not know how to do tasks, whatever it may be, work tasks, personal tasks. I don't know how to do things that don't have connection to my life at some point. because something has to be connected to my life, whether it's directly connected to me personally, whether it's connected to career, whether it's connected to my personal growth, my personal development. If there's no tie-in to whatever it is that I'm doing, I don't know how to just do that, because then I feel like I'm wasting time. And that's why I feel like I'm catching up, because I haven't quite been doing things that are what I believe to be in alignment with my purpose, whatever that is, because I feel like that changes 11 times a week. If it's not aligned with what I believe my purpose is, I don't understand why I'm doing it. Which is why I have challenges with instructions, despite the fact that I need instructions, because 99% of the time, the instructions don't have nothing to do with what I think I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm always in this space of catch up and disconnect and trying to thread things together. So if it doesn't have purpose, I don't know how to move. And because of that, now that I have the language to say that, I recognize why I've been stagnant in some areas in my life, why I've been complacent in certain areas of my life. One, because I've been trying to figure out what my purpose is. And then two, when I think I know what it is, I want to do the things that are in alignment with the purpose, because the spiritual folks tell us we have to always be in alignment. So if I'm doing things that I don't think is in alignment with my purpose, then I feel like I'm out of my alignment. Then I feel like I'm wasting time. And then at some point, I feel like I'm going to be catching up. Y'all seeing the pattern here? Because it's starting to click for me. It's starting to click for me. It's really how I'm processing information, what I'm defining as purpose, what I'm defining in my head. I want to be able to say that out loud, but I don't know what that is out loud. I just know what my brain is naturally gravitating to. So what my brain is naturally gravitating to as a purpose, like my life's purpose, then it's what is the purpose, what is the reason and the rationale. So, right, purpose, life's, whatever the life task is that we came on earth to do, your purpose, the reason, and the rationale, and how that connects to daily tasks, routine, and habits, and aligning with the frequency that connects to the reason and the rationale, the purpose, and my life's work. My purpose, or a purpose. When those things are not, if I can't see the way forward, I don't know how to move. I feel so lost sometimes because I always think I know what I'm doing, and then I get hit with a curveball or a plot twist, and then I have to take a step back. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've been going in the wrong, quote unquote, wrong may be relative, but I've been going in a different direction this whole time, and now I got to pivot. So do I start over? Do I pick up where I left off? Does it make sense? Is it in the same frequency, in the same lane? Does it connect at some point? I never know the answers to those questions. The only answer that I get is go create. Go create. I never know what specifically that's supposed to be, so I just create things. Purpose is... They're telling me it's a hindrance. But I guess it is. I guess purpose is a hindrance. Because when we get so wrapped up into purpose, reasoning and rationale, or life's work, when we become attached to what that is, I'm starting to realize that we miss out on the adventure of life, but also the expansion of what we could be doing with our gifts and talents, where we could place our mental energy, our physical energy, our spiritual energy. Purpose tells us, they're telling me purpose is linear. Purpose is linear. And because it's linear, it keeps us straight. It keeps us straight and narrow. And we believe that straight and narrow is the way that we are supposed to go. But how life on earth works is twists, turns, and curves. And if we are aligned to or attached to whatever we think our purpose is, we don't allow for the flexibility and the mutability of us to adapt to the twists, turns, and curves that life hands us. That's how we spiral into depression. That's how we cause and create anxiety. That's how we get mentally lost, because we believe that this is the thing that we are supposed to be doing, not recognizing that there are many things that we are supposed to be doing, because we are multifaceted human beings. And sure, some of us may decide to choose the one thing that we're good at and master it and make it become a thing. But there are a multitude of us who are meant to do many things. And if we pigeonhole ourselves to a purpose, we remove ourselves from the opportunity to be the expansive beings that we are. And that is not why we are here on earth. That is not the purpose. The purpose is not to just have one purpose. The purpose is to live out loud. The purpose is to dream. The purpose is to be. And when we find the thing that we like or love, we lean into it. We become it. And then we allow that to grow and expand, constantly evolving, constantly bending and transmuting and transforming. Our goal here on earth is to constantly allow ourselves to evolve. And oftentimes purpose puts us in a place where we stop our own evolution, where we stop our own growth, because we tell ourselves we're just supposed to do this one thing. That's my purpose. My purpose is this. And if I'm not doing things that's not aligned with my purpose with this one thing, then I can't do it. And what they're saying to me is that we close the door for opportunities that allow us to grow and evolve in a way in which we didn't imagine. Purpose feels comfortable because we're told, society, by whomever, that it is our duty to find and follow our purpose. And that creates a box for us. Purpose creates a box. A small box that's not expansive. Boxes have 4 walls. But when we push outside the box and maybe just carry the idea of having a purpose, not because it's the one thing that you do, but maybe holding on to the rationale and the reason of why you do things, that maybe it leads to something, that there are steps that lead you to things. Doing things with rationale and reason is a journey that can lead you to the breadth and depth of who you are. Rationale and reason might be an exploration or way to reconfigure how we navigate and interact with purpose. Rationale and reason may be another way to view that. Instead of saying, my purpose, my life's work is to just do this one thing. That is very interesting. The first time my spirits were in my ear and I was talking through them. That's very interesting. This is going to be a very interesting episode. But then that makes sense. To pigeonhole ourselves with purpose and say that we are only here to do this one thing, when we in fact are here to do many things. Doesn't necessarily mean we have to be multifaceted, multi-hyphenated things. It just may be seasons where the evolution of ourselves or our gifts and talents have a time frame, a season, an expiry date. Maybe you are meant to paint for 3 to 5 years, let's say. And then maybe the evolution of you as an artist goes from painting to some form of mixed media. Maybe that then turns to sculpting at some point. The purpose is to create, right? The instructions are to go create. But the rationale and reasoning of how you're creating can be the building blocks to your journey ahead. You're painting because the purpose is for you to create. But as you're painting, you're learning more about different modes and mediums and your creative acumen and your creative mind. And the painting leads you down the road to another form of medium. And then that leads you to another form of medium. And then it leads you to a different genre of painting, a different expression of artistry, I should say. Maybe sculpting leads you down a form of artistic expression that takes on an older period that you revise with your new perspective. You're still creating, but now the rationale and the reasoning has changed. Maybe you now learn this new medium because there's a story that you need to tell and you are the conduit to tell the story. I never thought of it that way. And I am, this is resonating with me in ways that I didn't think it would resonate. Rationale and reason for purpose as opposed to life's work. Because I believe now I'm starting to believe as I'm growing and evolving, as the minutes pass in this episode, now I believe that our life's work, or what we believe our purpose is to do whatever our discipline is, right? What we are here to create and innovate, right? And we create and innovate in various different ways, right? You may be in the tech industry and you may code something that's creating. Whether you see it as that or not, it's creation and innovation, right? We create and innovate in so many different ways. You may create a framework for something. You may conjure up a new spice for food. You may create a new way to preserve food. You may create new jewelry. You may uncover, discover, innovate a new surgical procedure, right? We're here. Our life's work is to be here to create and innovate. And however that looks for us varies, right? But the purpose, the road, the reason, and the rationale, that is subjective. And maybe either reframing or removing purpose to life's work and needing to have a purpose Why am I here on this earth? Maybe it's just simply to create and innovate. I think all of us may just be here on this earth to create and innovate. And it may look different for everyone. Maybe, your crime spree, your innovative crime spree sparks creation of a new law. Maybe that's the purpose. That's the reason and the rationale, right? We're not seeing purpose in the two ways: life's work, reason, and rationale. Maybe the reason, the purpose, the reason you are here is to trigger something or to activate something or someone to create or innovate something that's going to help the world's hyperlocal or grand scale. Maybe that's the interconnectivity that I've been looking for, feeling like whatever I do needs to have an effect on the community, hyperlocal grand scale. And because I'm unable to thread those things together, it makes it a challenge for me to create, or a challenge for me to understand what my purpose is. And maybe the instructions, go create, has that underlining reasoning. It's not for me to attempt to figure it out. Yeah. I'm going to sit with all of this. And if you were having some of the same questions as well, I do hope that this may be a prompt for you and lead you down the path that you need. Yeah. I hope that leads you down the path that you need. Yeah. Thank you for tapping into the Muses Lab. And as always, until we meet again. Thank you for tapping into the Muses Lab. I hope you enjoyed this week's adventure. Be sure to like this episode, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and share the wealth with others. Dive deeper into the lab by joining the Pleasure Frequency list at www.themuseslab.com. Receive weekly musings, early access, and exclusive drops, as well as discounts on products and services. Thank you once again for tapping in. Until next time.